Boxing Profiles. How you doing today, guys? My name is Tony Prince, and I'm your host. Hey, what's going on this fine Saturday afternoon? So I'm coming to you guys today with some serious concerns about boxing. As a lot of people are out and they're boxing fans, and they want to be able to watch a lot of the big name fighters and the pay-per-views, but they for some reason sometimes they don't want to pay $100. So what do? They go and they steal the pay-per-views. Well, folks, is this bad for boxing? Are promoters good for boxing? We have to ask ourselves these questions, okay? So if you're paying $100 for a fight for the pay-per-view and you only get 3 fights, is that worth it for the fans? Obviously not if people are stealing the pay-per-views. So the question is, why is boxing not getting the accolades, the publicity like it used to when I was a kid? Well, the difference is this. It used to be on free TV. Guys came out of the Olympics automatically when they had a fight. It was on ABC, the wide world of sports is what it was on. And it covered all types of sports, not just one sport, all types of sports. And it was on free TV. So the marketing was there. Today, these fighters, a lot of the fighters that are out there could be really, really good fighters. We don't even know who they are. You want to know why? Because there's no marketing behind them. Is that bad for a fighter? Absolutely, because it also determines how much money he makes eventually. Because if he is a fighter that no one knows about, then he cannot put asses in the seats. If you can't put asses in the seat, the money is down. Okay? So back in the days when I watched boxing, most of the people, because everybody knew who the fighters were and was household names, they was able to put asses in the seat because it was exciting. And people wanted to go see them fight. Okay, whether it was win, lose, or draw, people wanted to see them fight. And in one case particular, in today's time, there's a fighter out there, and he calls himself Adrian Broner. Adrian the Problem Broner. Okay, win, lose, or draw. Adrian could put asses in the seat, so he gets top dollar on the pay. This is what boxing is all about. It's all about who can put the asses in the seat. Now, with that being said, are promoters good for the business of boxing? We're talking about your Al Haymans, Leonard Ellaby's, Golden Boy, The Zone. We're talking about all of these promoters, every single one of you. So if you guys are watching this, this is something that's very, very important for you guys to take note to, okay? Because the fans that pay the money to help pay your fighters, we want to see certain fights. We want to see exciting fights and memorable fights. Well, here's another promoter that is talking about boxing and why boxing is dying. Leonard Ellaby, Floyd Mayweather, Golden Boy, DAZN, all of you guys, Top Rank, I didn't forget about you. All of you guys that are out there, this one is for you. I'm going to share my screen with you guys right now so you guys can see what this promoter is talking about and how the difference in between these two businesses are, okay? Bear with me here for one moment, okay? Here we go.
It was just one of those fights that had people buzzing for a couple days.
Even had your old friend Oscar jumping in saying how much he loved the fight.
Yeah. Did he say he loved the fight?
I think he said, what a great fight, but you got underpaid for it. I
Yeah.
think he gave Alex some credit, maybe not you then.
We doing this now? Is that what we're going to do? We're going to get into this? So here we go. Go ahead and hand out the thing to them. So normally, you guys know how this works. When people, people like to push the buttons and talk about fighter pay, and you don't ever see us coming out and talking about it or doing whatever, because I don't give a shit. When I got 20-something-year-old Jake Paul, a fucking YouTuber, talking about fighter pay, or these other guys on the internet, we know what the hell we're doing over here. And at the end of the day, My philosophy is always this: it's nobody's fucking business what these fighters are making. None of these guys are under some type of gag order in their contract. Any fighter on the roster can come out and tell you guys what they make. Said this a million times. They can come out and tell you what they make. Ask them what they make. What'd you make tonight? They can tell you. They don't tell you. And why they don't tell you? They don't want you to know. I wouldn't want you to know either. But at the end of the day, I've said this a million times. We run a real business, unlike boxing. Boxing doesn't run a real business. What these guys do is every event is a going out of business sale. You know, they're trying to get as much money as they can in the door. The two guys at the top of the card make all the money. And how many fights a year are they doing? 1, 3, 5? You know, I'm doing 52 to 53 events a year. So one of the other things we do and why we run a real business is we reinvest in the sport. Not just the business of the UFC, but we reinvest in the sport, and we've built a global business over the last 20 years. We have infrastructure. We have 450 employees that we hire. You know, a couple of years ago it was 350. We're at 450 now. UFC headquarters, Performance Institute. I found a space in Mexico City. Now we have a space that we're looking at and doing a deal for. We're going to build a PI there. We're doing Puerto Rico, Africa, and obviously we have one in China. I have offices in Brazil, London, Shanghai, and Singapore. We do all of our own production, which most sports do not. We built the Apex, which has enabled us to put on fights through the pandemic, keep everybody working. We pay for USADA drug testing, which is a massive number every year, to keep the sport safe and fair. And when you think about it, guys like Arum and De La Hoya and people like this never had the vision to do anything like this, and it's never been done. And everybody thinks they know what they're talking about, and everybody has an opinion, and I say it all the time. You know what you guys know about this sport? I shouldn't say the sport. You know what you guys know about this business? What I fucking tell you. That's what you know. That's all you know. What we've done here has never been done in the history of combat sports. And we continue to grow this thing and build the sport bigger for everybody. There's no barrier to entry. Anybody can get into this, okay? Anybody can start an MMA promotion and get going. Jump in and figure it out like I did. Figure it out, right? Now let's get into De La Hoya. And the only reason that I'm telling you this is because he is a lying, two-faced, hypocritical sack of shit. And I hate him so much that I love to prove that he's a lying, hypocritical, two-faced piece of shit. All right, so let's start. I guess we'll start with his when he started an MMA event. Okay, he did his first MMA event. And just for the record, you guys could figure this out too and do this. This isn't some deep investigational journalism here that you couldn't have done. You guys can all look this up yourself. And so all the former UFC fighters who were on his card made more in their last bout than they did for his event. Most of them made more in multiple or all of their UFC bouts, right? So 17 of the 22 fighters got less than the starting compensation in the UFC. The guys who fought on his MMA card. Now, where I'm going with this is this asshole, every time he opens his mouth, acts like, number one, oh, you're not paying your fighters. You know, why are the fighters not being paid? And he acts like when he put on an event, like he pays more than we do or something. Yeah, you pay fucking Canelo a shitload of money, whom you couldn't even hold on to. You couldn't even keep. He fucking left you too, right? How about this? I have 650 fighters under contract. He had fucking one that mattered. He couldn't keep them. Does he still have Ryan Garcia? I don't know yet. All right, good for him. That'll be another 2 weeks before he fucking loses that case, okay? 12 of the 22 fighters got less than the got compensated less than what we pay kids on the Contender Series, okay? On that MMA event. The last time, remember Tito Ortiz made less than $250,000 in the UFC was February of 2005 for UFC 251. What do those have in common? They were both, and just for the record, that was when we were still $40 million in the hole. We weren't making money. We were 40 million upside down. That was the last time. After those dates came the Ultimate Fighter, and everything started to change and grow, right? So think about this. Chuck Liddell, his last fight in the UFC, right? Chuck lost 5 of his last 6, right? And he still made, on his last fight in the UFC, 10 times more than what Oscar paid him. Okay? Tito Ortiz won 1 of his last 9 fights. Tito Ortiz's last 9 fights, he won 1. He made 12 times in the UFC for his last fight what Oscar paid him. So it's not like I'm giving you numbers, oh, Tito was the champion, and this is what he made, he got a piece of pay-per-view. Chuck was the champion, he got a piece of pay-per-view. This was the last fight on their contracts after Tito won 1 of his last 9, and Chuck was 5 of his last 6 had lost. Okay? So there's another fucking lie from Oscar De La Hoya. Let's get into Volkanovski. He's very concerned about Alexander Volkanovski for some fucking reason. Like he needs Oscar De La Hoya's help, right? Think about this. Oh, wait, let me get into this first. So what you've been handed, I could have brought 30 of these, okay? I brought 1 because it's June 9th, 2021, okay? This was a fight that just happened in June. It's a Golden Boy Promotions fight that this dickhead put on, okay? There were 9 fights, 18 fighters. The total purses paid for every fight was $36,500. Total. The average purse per fighter is $2,000 on a Golden Boy De La Hoya card. Let me start again. He's concerned about Alexander Volkanovski, okay? Before we pay $1 in fucking purse money, right? Volkanovski got paid more to wear his UFC Venom kit than Oscar De La Hoya paid the entire fucking fight card. Do you understand what I'm saying? To walk out with the Venom fight kit on, he was paid more than Oscar paid the entire fucking fight card. I could go on, but I think we all get the fucking point. He's a liar, and what his interest in talking about the UFC is, and this is the thing. Every time somebody comes out and says, oh, you don't pay your fighters, you don't pay your fighters, I could come out and do this every fuck. I'm not. I don't give a shit. You don't like the way we pay our fighters? Too fucking bad. Go start another MMA organization and you go fucking figure out how to do it. And you can pay them $10 million a fight, $30 million a fight, whatever you want to do. We run a business. We've been very good at it. Not only do we run the business, we continue to grow the sport and take everybody along with us, you know? Tonight, like Laura Sanko said, this whole Contender Series was all foreign guys that are coming in here to fight. Everybody makes money. Everybody makes a living. You know, there are some hard stories, some sad stories. Some guy came into this. You're either fucking good enough to be here or you're not. This is the big leagues. It's like the NFL. You can either last here or you can't last here. But people get paid. People get paid a lot of money. Any questions about this sack of shit and his lying?
Do you ever think about maybe suing him for defamation? You know,
No, listen, I'm not suing anybody. I always say this, you know, we all talk shit about each other, you know. They don't like me, I don't like them, we all don't like each other. It is what it is. This is a very mean business. We say mean things about each other. You got people out there that fucking lie. If I lied, guys, if I lied the way that this fucking scumbag lies and these other guys, if I did this shit, and there's so much more on De La Hoya. He owes people money that fought for him that he hasn't paid. The list goes on and on. If I ever did, and imagine if I still owed a fighter money from fucking a year ago. you would crucify me on a daily basis. This guy, nobody gives a shit. And the only reason I just despise him so bad that every time he fucking lies, I point it out. And still, people don't give a shit, you know? Take a look at a lot of choices this guy's made in his life. Gets away with a lot of shit.
I think just losing Canelo is probably an indictment on his ability as a promoter.
What's that?
Losing Canelo is probably an indictment on his ability as a promoter.
I said it to him yesterday, and I'll say it to him again. He accomplished a lot of great things in boxing. Outside of the ring, the guy's an absolute fucking loser. He's a liar and many other things. And I can't tell you, maybe you can tell, how much I despise this human being, but that's the only reason that I'm even fucking doing this. This is it. It's the last time. I'm not going out again. I mean, last time he did it, I was on Sports Center, and I laid out how he lied and facts, and then here we are again, you know? Yet this guy keeps opening his big fucking yap. He's amazing. Some of the things that this guy's done in his fucking personal life, if that was me, I'd be living on some fucking island somewhere and nobody would ever see me again. I'd disappear. Poof. What the fuck happened? We know what happened. He got the hell out of town before he bumps into somebody.
So, Dana, just outside of Oscar, right? There has been a lot of talk on fighter pay lately, right? The number that gets thrown out is 16 to 18% of revenue around there. I guess, can you talk about...
Is that right?
Is that accurate?
None of your business. None of your business. How much it is. That's it. I mean, that's what people are always asking about. What about this? What about that? Listen, if you don't like how we run our business, go start your own. There is no barrier to entry to get into this sport. Anybody can do it. Many have. A lot of smart guys do. Cuban, Trump. The list goes on and on. A lot of guys that have gotten into this business. I hear there's new guys coming now. I wish them all the best. You know, anybody can get into this business. If you don't like how we're running ours, go do it yourself.
I guess the last thing I would ask on that, is that a discussion that you guys have in terms of like reviewing, like, hey, should we be allocating more of a percentage towards our fighters, or should we increase that?
Fighter comp has gone through the roof over the last 5 years since the sale. And it's going to continue to go up. So, yeah.
David, since this is probably going to be the last time we're going to talk about Oscar, something that people have always wondered is the genesis of where the beef started.
Yeah. So
what started?
Yeah. So we were cool at one point. I'd go to his fights. He'd put on fights, and I would literally use my social media to talk about the fights. Hey, you watching Oscar's fight? So all the things that I had done for this guy, when he was having fights and shit, then we do Mayweather versus McGregor, and this guy goes on like a PR tour telling people not to watch the fight. It was a disgrace to boxing. But he would fight Conor McGregor, right? It's not a disgrace to the sport if you fight him. It was just, I was like, first of all, I'm involved in this fight. Why would you tell people not to watch somebody's fight? What do you even care? Right? Like, I just laid out how he pays his fighters and what he does. But you're concerned about my fighter comp? Right? The problem with Oscar De La Hoya is Golden Boy is fucking tanking, in my opinion. Yeah. And, so I don't know what the fucking, the guy, I wish I could tell you, he's an asshole. I mean, other than that, I don't know. And he's a liar and a lot of other things. And that's not just my opinion. This is the second time that I've laid out facts for you. He's talking about paying fighters. He did a card in June where the entire card, total purchase was $36,500. It was just one of those fights that had people buzzing.
There you have it, folks. Dana White revealing some inside information, okay? That is on the ESPN Plus, as you guys can see it. That was on your screen. Wow. Boxing promoters. Wow. I mean, wow. I mean, this guy is doing, he said, 53 cards a year is what he is doing, reinvesting his money back into boxing. So he also has television. So I'm speaking to you guys once again. Boxing needs to be put back on television. As we see, I've said it before, Oscar De La Hoya has only got 2 marquee fighters, Ryan Garcia, and then he's got Oscar. Look, what he said, there is Oscar tanking. Come on. You guys are going to have to make your own decision. Leonard Ellaby, Mayweather, DAZN, Top Rank, Al Heyman, and any other boxing promoters. If you guys get to see this, hey man, pay attention to what Dana White is saying. Pay close attention, because remember something, guys. This guy is huge, and he's getting bigger and bigger, opening offices all over the place. And look at what's going on in boxing right now. We can't even make a Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford fight. We can't even get that fight signed. Why? Because you can't agree on the money. Wow. I mean, wow. I don't know, man. I really don't know. As much as I love the sport, okay? Boxing Profiles, we love boxing because, like I said, I've let you guys know before, I'm a former fighter, okay? And I love the sport of boxing. I love it because it's just something that I like to do. I like teaching it, okay? Okay, because I am a coach also. Got a couple fighters up under my wing that I also bringing them up, all right? And I got one guy that's a special talent. He's amazing. You would not believe the talent that this kid has got. But you know what? I do understand the business of boxing. The one thing a fighter needs is marketing. If you're not marketing your fighter, nobody's going to know who he is. If nobody knows who he is, why is anybody going to pay top dollar? That is business. Whether you think he should get the money or not, no matter how good he is, the accolades means nothing. Putting asses in the seats and getting people to buy the pay-per-views is the business of boxing and the MMA. But if you're not putting on good cards, why in the world do people want to watch your fights? This is for you promoters. Why would anyone want to watch your fights? You can't be as he called Oscar, a scumbag or a dick or whatever you want to call him. That's what he called him. Okay? You can't do this to people and then expect them to be satisfied. Not only that, the people that are watching, the fans who could really see it, we're not happy with a lot of the things that's going on in boxing, that we can't get the biggest fight in boxing. You guys can't come to the negotiation table and get this thing signed because one fighter thinks that he's worth more than the money that they're offering him, and then the other fighter's thinking the same thing. If the money's not there, the money's not there. Stop wasting everybody's time. If you don't like the money, get up, walk away, and go do something else. That's all you could do. And when I say walk away, hey, you got other fights in you. But remember something. If you get up and you walked away, that opportunity and that door closes, and that door may close on all the PBC fighters. So remember what you say, how you say it, and your words, because if you shut one door, then that other door, these other fighters that you looking to fight, you may not get that fight either. Why? Because again, the money situation is going to be the same thing. Think about this for a moment. I'm gonna get on the Errol Spence and the Terrence Crawford thing. Okay, if the fight between Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford never happens, Jermell Charlo and Terrence Crawford will never happen either. Why? Because the money situation will come up again, and they will pay Charlo this much for being completely undisputed as the 154-pound champion, opposed to a guy that came up from being undisputed and then trying to fight him. He's a super WBO champion. Okay, bottom line. So if that door closes, it may not open up at all. That's something to think about. Okay? All right? So I don't know what's going to go on in negotiations because I'm not part of negotiations. And, frankly, ain't nothing I could really say too much about it. But I can say this. I do want to see the fight. But if that fight don't happen, I can live without seeing the fight. Because you know what? There are other great fights that are out there. Everybody's saying you got the two guys that are the best, right? That's what everybody's saying about the two guys that are the best, but they can't get together and settle on the money part of it. So it's more than likely looking like we are not going to go see this fight. That's what it's looking like. So I expect Errol Spence to go to plan B, which is to fight Keith Thurman, or to fight actually the person that's in line currently right now is Stanley Onis, then maybe Keith Thurman, and then probably Jaron Boots Ennis is up in there somewhere. Okay. But on the Terrence Crawford side, I don't know who's next on that side. I do know that if Terrence Crawford is going to, if this fight doesn't happen and Terrence Crawford needs to fight again, he's got to fight big name fighters. So who is he going to fight? Because PBC has the contract with most of your top fighters in boxing today. So who is Terrence Crawford going to fight? Now, these are questions that need to come out, okay? I mean, yeah, there's probably other fighters out there that he could fight. Okay, yeah, he was with Top Rank, and Top Rank is kind of an in-house type of a thing, which is cool. Okay, all that's cool. But my bottom line to it is this: I'm getting back to the promoters. Promoters, these fights need to be on TV. TV, folks, TV. Okay, number one, what is that going to do? You put it on TV, people gonna go right to TV and they're gonna be watching them. And if you're putting good fight cards on, then of course people gonna watch them. And then when you do a mega fight, people will buy the fight. Does that make sense? Okay, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You got to promote the business, just like Dana White said. You got to invest your money back into the business in order for your business to be a success. That's what any smart businessman does. Okay, and the fans, boxing fans, listen. It ain't your business how much money the fighters make. It ain't your business who's the A side, who's the B side. I could care less about that. You want to know why? Because the guy that wins the fight is the A side. Does that make sense to you? Okay, so that's the bottom line. Okay, maybe the guy that's over here got less money, but he's the A side because he beat this dude over here. Maybe. But we won't know because we ain't seen the fight. They can't come to agreement. Now, I'm going to say this again. I said this before. Everybody wants to believe it's Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford that, these two guys are going like this. There is another factor that people are not talking about. What if it is Showtime that says this is the budget all we have for the fight and we can only give you this amount of money, period, regardless of your accolades for either one of you guys? What if it's Showtime? We don't know. And this is what I'm trying to say. We have no idea. Everything is speculation for everybody. And, and then the boxing fans and all these different YouTubers and everybody else acting like they know what's going on. None of us know what's going on. We only know what they tell us, just like Dana White said. And then when someone asked, the reporter asked, he said, it's none of your business. That's not information that you want to put out there. That is a personal and private thing for between Dana White and that particular fighter. So guess what? That's not even a question you should even ask. Period. All you want to do is see the fight. Okay? And if you guys want to see the fight, then do something to promote the fight instead of tearing the fighter down over here. Okay? I mean, come on. Okay? I mean, boxing fans get kind of crazy just sometimes. They do a lot of stupid stuff. So, anyway, to make a long story short, like I said, I've been on here about 30 minutes, actually 15 minutes, due to the fact that, we played the video and Dana White laid down some real serious stuff. And this is why MMA has been putting on better cards than the boxing. Okay? Boxing, you guys got to wake up. You guys might want to stop and look at what he's doing And you guys might want to start trying to repeat it before it's too late. Okay, he said he thinks Golden Boy is tanking. And a lot of you guys out there know if Golden Boy is tanking or not. Because here's the thing, if Golden Boy is tanking, where are all those fighters going to go? Are they going to go to the PBC? Are they going to go Top Rank? Are they going to go to the zone? Where are they going to go? Think about it, folks. Because these are subjects that no one's talking about. So I'm bringing them up, okay? I'm bringing it up for everybody to start thinking a little bit, okay? Well, anyway, look, this is Boxing Profiles. It's a beautiful Saturday, and I'm going to go ahead and get off of this thing. So, you guys think about what was being said in this whole podcast, because this is serious. This is a very serious topic, what we just talked about, and the things that you heard about boxing. Dana White said boxing has a going out of business sale. That's why the cards are so expensive. And the top two fighters get all the money. Wow. Whether it's true or not, that's not for me to judge. But the fact that he's saying these things, and the man looked like he got facts that's there on Oscar De La Hoya. So, more than likely, if you follow the pattern, and he's done this before, you follow the pattern, the things that he's saying is more than likely 100% true because he's got paperwork to show. So, boxing fans, we need to stop and think. Are we going to support our fighters and get off this color scheme if the fighter is black, pink, orange, green, or polka dots? Get off of that nonsense that everybody's putting out there. The nonsense that people say nobody wants to see the black fighters. Are you insane? Come on. That's some of the stupidest stuff I've heard out there. Get off that crap, because that's what's hurting the sport also. And all you coaches that out there that are saying that nonsense, maybe you should get away from boxing or something. Because no one needs negativity in boxing. It's already negative enough. Okay? You can't say that this fighter's not exciting and this fighter is. Okay? Come on now. I could get into a whole lot. There's fighters out there that's not even using their jab. And we know that the jab is the most important punch in the business. Okay? We see world champions that fight for world titles didn't even use a jab. And how exciting is that fighter when he got beat up by a fighter that did use his jab? So wake up. Yes, I'm talking about the Oscar Valdez fight and the Shakur Stevenson fight. The reason why Oscar got beat up the way he did is because he didn't use a jab. He had no answer for the style that Shakur had. But Shakur used the jab. Oscar didn't. He threw it maybe a couple times. Come on, go back and look at the fight. You'll see it yourselves. Come on now. I'm not trying to put anybody down. I'm using that as an example. Okay, just like Dana used his information as an example to point out the difference between boxing and MMA. All right, guys, that's all I got. That's all I got for you. I'm done. That's it. But I can say this. Remember something. Keep punching. Don't get punch drunk. Peace. I'm out. Guys, have a great one.